on a mass level or on what you would call on a mobile level. So when you're looking at close to 30,000 subscribers between the Florida Star and the Georgia Star newspaper, you have an opportunity to tap into new markets. You got an opportunity to tap into new homes and new families and new individuals that can possibly benefit from what you have to provide. So once again, promote your product, promote your business, promote your service through the Florida Star newspaper. You're listening to the Impact Radio Show. This is your host, Nahshon. I'm excited about my guests on today. I got some cousins with me. We got that brown sugar, that brown sauce, that brown flavor. I feel like James Brown up in this piece. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. Mr. Joshua Brown, how you feeling out tonight?
I'm feeling very well, sir. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Man, let me tell you something. My stepfather always says I'm on the top shelf and I don't fit nowhere else. And basically, I believe we're all on the top shelf because we're vertical. And basically, if you're horizontal, the work is done. But if you're vertical, the work ain't over. Mr. Anthony Brown.
You know it.
Black people need reparations. That's all I think. Every time I think of, anytime somebody says Anthony Brown and Duval, all I can say is, that's Anthony Brown and Black people need reparations. How you feeling out tonight, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. I got the spirit of Dr. King. I got the spirit of Johnny Cochran, two folks, man, who push for reparations, and their spirit is flowing through my veins right now. I'm ready to get it popping.
Yes, and a lot of times I don't think people quite understand that the importance, right, of reparations and making everything a level playing field. I would hear people say, you know, well, slavery ended in 1865, and well, if that was the case, then why would we need the civil rights movement, right? And then if that was the case, if everything ended in the civil rights movement, then why do we have to deal with the impacts of Jim Crow? We have to deal with the impacts of redlining. Then why would we need the Fair Sentencing Act on a federal level, for people who were being charged for crack cocaine, basically getting heavier sentences than people who are actually distributing cocaine, which is a more pure and addictive substance. But there's so many things that when it comes to Black folks pertaining to reparations, that I don't believe that we have a full gist and a full concept. And Mr. Brown, I think you may appreciate this analogy. And my analogy for reparations is that if somebody runs in the back of you, right, or hits you while you're not moving, and they hit you in the rear, Florida has Florida no fault, but if you hit someone from behind, you're automatically at fault per se, right? And say, I hit you. I get out my car and I say, Mr. Anthony Brown, I am so sorry for running in the back of you. In the church, we call that repentance. But because I ran in the back of you, I injured you or your vehicle. So now I've compromised your ability to provide for your family. I've compromised your mobility. I've compromised your support services. So what I have to do is provide you with my insurance company, and my insurance company is going to handle the financial components, which is reparations. I need to repair something that I have broken. I have to repair something that I have fractured. And you didn't ask me to run into the rear of you. You didn't ask me to hit you. And I have to take ownership for something that I have done. And Mr. Brown, Anthony Brown per se, if you can kind of just tap into something that our listening and viewing audience can expect on tonight.
Well, they can expect me to be specific about what reparations looks like on a federal level, as well as a local level. In terms of what we are owed, in terms of what we qualify for, and in terms of why it's so important, particularly with that racial wealth gap being as wide as it is. So let me just say this real quick and then we can get into it. To be dismissive of slavery does not do the full picture any justice, because slavery redistributed resources into the hands of the dominant society. And because we have yet to do corrective action to redistribute those resources back to the people who had their labor stolen for almost 300 years, you still see that huge racial wealth gap. And in order to bridge that racial wealth gap, there has to be a redistribution of resources even today. And because we have not addressed that, we are in a state of emergency as it pertains to Black people. And what the audience needs to understand is by the year 2050, this is from white economists and Black economists, Black people will have a zero wealth, meaning that they will be under the poverty line. And so this is not a philosophical argument. It is an argument for something that needs to happen yesterday. So one of the things that I wanted to do is
hold on one second. Mr. Anthony, you gave us some drip. That's all we need, is just a little bit of drip. So
right.
And now with that drip, I want to put a pause for the cause, because on a lighter note, I would like for Mr. Joshua Brown to kind of expound a little bit about something that he's discovered pertaining to what I would call self-determination and self-development. And I really thought that he would kind of complement some of the things that you're saying. But before you went off into the deep end, I just want to let them know that if you're driving, don't get out your car, because Anthony Brown is going to tell you what's due you. And if you don't want it, give it to me. But Joshua Brown, talk to us a little bit, because I love your story. And people say I started from the bottom, now I'm here, or they have and I don't want to steal your thunder. I just want you to kind of share your story as a young Black man from in our modern society. Even though you may not be here in Duval, I believe the impacts of what you're doing can be revolutionary to those who hear your voice.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Nix. My name is Joshua Brown from Syracuse, New York, born and raised, father of 3, and I'm actually a truck driver by trade. The reason why I started looking for different streams of income in different ways, just to piggyback a little bit on what my brother, Mr. Anthony Brown said,
veggie bag,
camelback, absolutely, brother, absolutely. But really, for me, I just started looking for different means of income. I'm a truck driver by trade, so I was away from my family 2 to 4 to 6 weeks at a time, and I felt more like Santa Claus instead of their dad. And then when I was able and fortunate to land a local job to be home every night, I still had to work 70 hours a week, loading the trucks, driving the trucks, unloading the trucks. It was back-breaking work, and it felt just like that same slavery that the brother Anthony Brown spoke of. Now, I started looking at different ways to generate income, everything from the stock market to real estate. And what's the reason why a lot of people don't start businesses? Why? Startup capital. And we don't even have access to some of those funds that's allocated from some of those banks because of, some of the racial biases and so on and so forth. So for me personally, I seen an opportunity where we can get paid off of the bills that we pay all the time. Services like gas, electric, cable, internet, home phone, you name it. We get paid on all of the services that you can turn off, but you can never pay off. And I found a way to get paid residually. What does residual income mean? Do the work one time, get paid for a lifetime. Now, I feel like we should be getting paid residual reparations for a lifetime. So I just took it and I ran with it. For me personally, I'm in the business of helping people. And the best thing I love about this opportunity is every time we acquire a customer, we feed a hungry child based on the zip code of the customer in that local community. So I really love the opportunity that we have. We've been able to help over 200 people across the nation. We've expanded our business into 25 different states across the country. And I'm very excited about it, because I'm in a position to help.
So I'm going to trail back for just a second. Can
Certainly.
you just talk about just a couple of things that will pay for but will never pay off? What would be a couple of examples of things that will pay for but will never pay off?
Things like, for example, you got everybody in the world, right, that pays for gas, electric, internet, cell phone. These are all necessities. You understand what I mean? Like, there's nobody sitting in the dark with candles. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs gas and electric, right? But if we can show you an opportunity to get paid off those very same bills, wouldn't it make sense? You know,
Right.
if these are,
So let me ask you this: based on your geographical location, where are you located?
I'm located in Syracuse, New York, which is upstate New York. Yes, sir.
So we're in Duval, which is Jacksonville, the First Coast.
That's
so
right.
Are you saying that the company that you're with has a bandwidth that can stretch down the East Coast to the South?
Absolutely. We're in all 50 U.S. states and U.S. territories, including Guam, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands, as well as 27 countries across the globe. Yes, sir.
All right.
We're currently expanding in the southern Georgia and into northern Florida specifically.
So, and then, because we don't have enough time to take a huge deep dive, and I got another guest, brother, Pastor Randy Sewell, who's also on. But before we transition to the break, I need you to call out, how do people contact you? Because some folks, they have those apprehensions about starting a business. I'm also a business owner.
Absolutely.
And it's a learning curve, and sometimes you need that mentoring. And if you can cut the learning curve, and if you can cut so many errors, because we do learn from trial and error, but if we can reduce the errors, I want people who are listening and watching to be able to contact you. How do they contact you? Mr. Joshua Brown. I can't just say Mr. Brown. I got to say Mr. Joshua Brown, because we got another Mr. Brown on as well. And Black people need reparations. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yes, we do. The name of the organization is Wolfpack Legacy. You can find us on Facebook. It's WP Legacy on Facebook. You can also find me on Facebook, Mr. Joshua Brown. I can be reached anytime. You can feel free to send me a friend request if you'd like. I can also be reached at area code 315-921-1588. You can give me a call at any time. We specialize in showing people how to start businesses for a fraction of the cost of your cell phone that you're currently holding in your pocket.
All right, call it that Facebook page one more time for the handle.
Yes, the Facebook is Wolfpack Legacy, WP Legacy on Facebook, and it's my phone number is 315-921-1588, and you can also find me on Facebook, Joshua Brown, Syracuse, New York. That's right.
Thank you so much. Listen, everyone, we got to take a break. You're listening to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper, and this is your host, Nahshon Nix. Stay locked, stay loaded, because we got some great guests coming back after these messages. Pastor Randy Sewell, where you at? Anthony Brown, you and your brother hiding from the camera.
I'm right here, man.
Hey man, I'm dusty. That's what I think. You talking about reparations?
I'll come. What's up, Anthony?
What's up,
Anthony?
Yes. Now I want everybody to know we're still live on social media, so just keep that in mind that we're on a commercial break, but we're still live on social media.
Joshua, you got some powerful stuff there, man. I like what you got going on. That's inspirational, man. You could be a consultant as these reparations come down. We need business consultants, man, as part of the package.
Yes. Welcome back to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper. This is your host, Nahshon Nix. I need you to stay locked and stay loaded to this information about reparations. And Mr. Brown, you can let me know if I'm off on this, but I like to share with people that without legislation, you don't have representation, and without representation, you don't get reparation. But now, is there a way that we can get around legislation, or we have to get that legislation in order to get reparations?
Let me speak from the local level.
Okay.
I was in conversation with Asheville, North Carolina. Now I've been in conversation with them for about 2 months. They are the first Southern city to pass a resolution for reparations at the local level. And so what that meant was city council all had to be lockstep in terms of what they wanted for the city as it pertains to quote unquote reparations. Here in Jacksonville, uh, the makeup is a little different. Believe it or not, we have 31% of the population is black. Asheville only has about 12% of the population that was black. However, they are way more progressive in terms of their attitude towards something like that that's transformative. Um, so to answer your question, and I know I went around the building and came back, we cannot get this passed without legislation and without some type of passing going on. So it's not like we can go out there and just tear down the building and say, we want this, we want that. There has to be some protocol, has to be some procedure that's done.
Understood. And in the words of Rihanna, don't act like you forgot. I mean, so why does it seem like it's so much resistance towards reparations and paying people what you owe
I think for me personally, I think the word reparations is a polarizing word, not only for the white community, but for the black community too. And when I say that, black folks feel as if they don't want to get a handout, and some of them feel like it would upset white population if they got reparations, which is problematic. They're also a part of the white community that feels like black folks should not get a handout, even though Native Americans have received reparations, Japanese Americans have received reparations. Even the slave owners, when Lincoln was in office, gave them reparations for the loss and the production of the slavery that they could have had, during the Civil War and after the Civil War. So, I bring that up because in Asheville specifically, and in Evanston, Illinois, another city that has passed resolution for reparations, they have been sued by individuals saying that there is an issue with race-based initiatives, which is why I try not to even use the word reparations. I try to use words like remedy, um, historical damage, or discriminatory policies that we want to try to deal with. So, I've learned just in meetings with these individuals that the verbiage means a lot. And there's a difference between reparations at the national level and what we call reparations at the local level.
Okay. And now I had a I don't know if you want to call it a debate or not, because it was on Facebook. Somebody said to me, like, hey, you can't say reparations for black people because black people is not a nationality. So my response was, well, we said slaves, that's not a nationality either. But you know who we're talking about when we mention you need to repair what you have broken and or repay what you owe. And so it's like, how do you go, or how do you handle those type of dialogues when people are like, well, how do you make sure that the right people get what they're supposed to get, or something to that nature?
Well, I go off of um, kind of the logic of Dr. William Darity, who says that it has to be a lineage claim based on American descendants of slavery. We are making a specific lineage claim based on our relationship with the federal government. So that would mean everybody who is a slave here in the United States, or a descendant of a slave, or someone who went through Jim Crow, which is a de facto slavery system, those people would be eligible for reparations. That is not a flat black claim to reparations. So, for example, if a brother or sister came in for the Caribbean, or a brother or sister came in for the continent, even though they are black, they would not be eligible for reparations under this government. That's not to say that if you're from the Caribbean, you didn't suffer, or you're not a descendant of slavery over there. You make that lineage claim against the government that you came from. And the reason you do that is, let me give you an analogy. Let's say I'm in a car accident, right? If I'm in a car accident, I still have a brother and a sister. Now, they are my brother and my sister, but they are not the ones who specifically were in that car accident. The
Mhm.
restitution will be me specifically, even though they're my brother and my sister. The specificity of getting reparations has to be a specific one. It keeps everybody from blurring the lines, particularly folks who do not want to address reparations and the harm that is caused historically. So to answer your question, it has to be somebody who has a lineage claim based on their slaves from the United States of America specifically. If you are Black, specifically somebody from the Caribbean or the continent, you are not eligible here in the United States because you did not descend from that chattel slavery in the United States of America. That is not to say that over in the Caribbean, which they have something called CARICOM, which is a reparations claim for the whole Caribbean, as well as neo-colonialism that's taking place on the continent. I'm not saying I'm not in solidarity with my brothers as a whole, but when we talk about reparations, it has to be something specific. That is the only way that you're going to be able to legitimize being able to make that specific lineage claim based on the damages of the United States of America.
Wow.
I really appreciate you taking the time to explain the differentiation from Blacks from the continent of Africa, as well as the Caribbean, and even South America, you know, because like I said, they say for every one African that was brought to the United States of America, 9 Africans were brought into South America. So, which would be like Brazil. I believe Brazil
Correct.
is the highest concentration of descendants of Africans outside of the continent. So there are, and like I said, so I love the way that you differentiated uniqueness pertaining on geographical location and American, North American, United States of America slavery. So I really do appreciate you breaking that down. And like I said, with all this technology, ancestry.com and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I don't see what the complications are. And I know one of your mentors, Dr. Claude Anderson, Amos Wilson, and most recently, I believe Sean D. Rochester with the Black Tax, they've already broken down the economic impacts, and even with inflation, what that will look like in today's society. So, I mean, what would you say next steps would be? Like, what's something that we can do on a local level that can help move the needle forward?
I think I'm really buoyed by what Asheville, North Carolina did. And some say, let me just say this, you know, to preference my statement. Most people don't view reparations from a local perspective. They view reparations as a national initiative, meaning that they feel like the only way you can really receive true reparations is from the government, because the government has the ability to levy out cash payments to those individuals on a mass level. I agree with that to a certain extent. And the reason why I don't agree with that 100% is because here locally, when you get small victories, they lead to a bigger victory. And so here at the local level, I think what we can do is we can have dialogue like this. We can have town hall meetings, but even more importantly, we can rally the troops to go down to City Hall in solidarity and say, these are 5 things that we want in this community. These are the things that you did to harm my community from the 30s all the way up until the present day. You are responsible for it. We want an apology, and this is what it looks like once you levy out those resources to us. That is what we can do tomorrow if we choose to do it. Here is the problem, Nahshon. That's not at the top of our priority list from a political standpoint. From a political standpoint, we do a lot of talking about other things other than reparations. I don't know if we feel like we can't get them. I don't know if we feel like it's a pipe dream. I don't know if we feel like we don't know how to go about it. But at the end of the day, just like I said on the onset of this conversation, reparations is not a philosophical conversation. It is a conversation about something that has to happen based on the fact that that generational wealth is so huge. And unless there's going to be something drastic that's going to take place tomorrow, you have to do something drastic. Just like Dr. King said in 67, I'm going to get my check. In 2021, we have to be having that narrative that we're going to get our check. And if you don't go get that check in 2050, in 2055, and 2060, then it's going to be over. And I don't want to come across morbid. I don't want to come across like that. And I know some people may disagree, but we are to that extent where we have to have some type of transformative policy. And reparations is one of those things to get us out of that hole.
Listen, we got to take a break, Anthony Brown, and we got Pastor Randy Sue coming back with our inspirational moment. But thank you so much. Can you please tell the people how they can find you real quick? Anthony Brown, give out your contact information.
Okay, my number is 706. That's the area code 706-289-0700. My email address is tb7787@yahoo.com. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I would love to talk to you. It's time to get organized, time to get these resources.
Why do you ain't tell the people about Tony's Tangent?
You can check Tony's Tangent out too.
All right, listen, you listen to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper. This is your host, Nahshon Nix. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, listen, even though we're taking a commercial break, we're still recording. Okay. So once again, Mr. Joshua Brown, if you can call out your contact information.
Yes, my name is Mr. Joshua Brown. I can be reached on Facebook with that exact name. I can. My organization is WP Legacy on Facebook and on Instagram as well. I'm the co-founder, and we specialize in helping people make residual income off of bills that they pay every day and feeding hungry children and showing people how to start up a business for the fraction of the cell phone that they use every day. And I have a philosophy: if you don't own it, it's not yours.
Right.
Yes. All right. All right. Andrew Brown, real quick, tell the folks how to find you one more time.
You can find me again. My number is 706-289-0700. My email is tb7787@yahoo.com. I am the executive. I'm on the executive board and as well as the economic committee.
Yes. Welcome back to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper. This is your host, Nahshon Nix. This is your inspirational moment. We got Pastor Randy Sewell flexing on tonight. He flexing on the enemy, y'all. He came straight out of the gym to give us this word. Drop the muscle. It's on you. It's on you, Pastor Sewell.
Good evening, Nahshon. Let us find encouragement in the land of Uz. Job 14. But Job, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you. We can hear you and see you, Hoss. Wow. Come on now.
Hello?
Get a word. Let's go to Uz one more time. Tell us about Dorothy.
Okay. Let us. All right, let's go to the land of Uz and find encouragement by our brother Job. Job chapter 14. Job encourages us because we are bothered by brevity, but we are inspired by eternity. And so one of the things we need to understand is that life is very brief. Life is very short. But Job gives us some inspiration. Even though we are bothered by the brevity of life, we can be inspired by eternity. First of all, we see man's time. Job says, man is a few days, born a few days. We only have a few days. We only have a short time. So we ought to do as the Latins, we ought to carpe diem, seize the moment, make the best of the opportunities that we have while we are yet living. Then we notice man's trouble. He's only here for a few days, but those days are full of trouble. We see trouble on every hand. We see trouble everywhere, but yet we can be inspired even though we see these troubling times and we're witnessing troubling times. We can be inspired so we can see man's triumph. Job says, even though a man shall die, yet shall he live again. We are bothered by brevity, but we are inspired by eternity simply because we are going to live again in that place of no more. No more crying, no more dying, no more COVID-19, no more racism, no more classism, exclusism. And so, brothers and sisters, I want to encourage us that even though we are here for a few days, make the most of those days. Even though we have trouble don't last always. Third, we shall triumph when we get to that land of no more. Even though we are bothered by brevity, we shall be inspired by eternity. God bless you.
God dog it. Boy, he could have been an attorney with all that Latin Yes.
You get that?
We got it.
Are you there?
We got carpe diem. You too can be a carpet man. Seize the moment.
Well, you acting up. You acting up tonight, Mr. Nick. You are acting
Oh man,
up.
let me tell you something. I'm just excited about what the future holds, Mr. Anthony Brown,
God
because
bless you.
if you look at the talent and the beauty of our guests on tonight, Black men doing some great things up and down the East Coast. And I believe that we are all stronger when we come together. For the African proverb says that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. We are stronger together. Another thing, as I always say, is that knowledge is power. Knowledge of self is powerful. And knowledge of God is the source of all power. I want to encourage everyone that's listening and watching to please subscribe to the Florida Star newspaper. That's floridastar.com, floridastar.com. Please subscribe to the Florida Star newspaper, promote your product, promote your business, promote your service. I love you, God bless you, and good night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great show, everybody.
Josh, love what you're doing, man. I'm gonna be in contact.
Thank you, brother. Thank
What's
you.
happening?
Thank you, brother. Yeah, send me a text message. Mr. Anthony Brown, what's your number, brother?
I didn't send it to you already.
You did.
Yes. Now we're still recording, so I got to close this out, but I will make
Close
sure
this
that
out, man.
Yeah.
All right, brothers. I
First
appreciate
of all,
it.
we don't even know if you're really here, because all
I'm
you
here.
say is I'm Anthony Brown, and Black people need reparations.
Hey,
You
man,
know
this
I'm
is
here
feel-
because of the spirit.
Hey,
You know I'm
brother.
here.
Hey, this was feeling real. This was feeling really like Wakanda over here, brother. I enjoyed myself.
Right.
Thank y'all, man.
Right.
Peace.